Welcome to the Friends in Film podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to give you insights into succeeding in the film industry that you will not hear about anywhere. Not in film school, not online, not even from the people on film sets. I teach you the art of building a career in a connection-based business. You've been through the awareness phase, you've been through the fascination phase, maybe you went to film school, but now it's time for the implementation phase, and that's what this is all about. Having an extraordinary successful career in the professional film industry. Hello everybody. So today we're going to talk about something that I think that will be very helpful for you because you guys are getting marketed to all over the place. You are getting so many conflicting messages and people telling you all sorts of different things. So this is why so many people are getting sidelined. Now, what I mean by sidelined is you actually spend years of your life doing something that's somehow related to what you want to do, that you think is going to somehow get you there. But then you find out years later that you're working for a marketing company, you're working for a social media company, you're working in marketing, you're working in videography, you're doing music festivals, and you have a film degree, and you want to be a screenwriter, and you want to be a major director, an actor, and you're like, oh my God, now it's been years that I have not been making these connections on the big sets. Like, I want to become, like, the goals that you have, directing and acting, go with being on the big sets, making those connections, and watching people that are really good do that thing. And have those people know you. So that's what your goal goes with. But then what we're actually doing are things that have us sidelined, where we're working for like sports or events or marketing or the stuff that just comes in. And we're like, oh, I'm hoping that somehow it lands me there. So I think that's one of my biggest messages to you guys is to tell you that hey, if you want to be a director, actor, screenwriter at the Netflix level, if you want to, what you want to do, which is feature films, TV shows, Netflix stuff, like professional stuff, then don't be shooting like a music festival. Like that pathway is not going to get you on the big sets, which is so good to know so that we're not spending our most valuable asset, which is our time, on stuff that's not resulting in where we want to actually go. Like I always say to people, I'm always like, hey, if you want to work on Netflix films eventually, like that's your goal, well, then make it your goal to be there right now so that you can meet those people and start those relationships. Yeah, because relationships take time to make, and you can make them. You can make them while you're getting paid to be there and help out on set. So the second thing that I think that people make the mistake with is they have some kind of pride where they want to come into the industry being somebody already. Is that anybody here where you're like, well, I want to be a big director, I want to be a big producer, so I want to come into the professional industry having like a reputation, like having like a portfolio. And so I got to make it there first before I come into the film industry. But I think that's a huge mistake because then you're spending a whole lot of time outside of the professional film industry and not on the sets that you need to be on to meet the people. So you're probably putting a big barrier in front of yourself, like boom, big barrier. Like I got to make it big in something else before I can get in the film industry. Now, I don't know where we got the idea that we have to make it big somewhere else before we can get in the film industry. Why? Why do we think we have to do all these other things and be so amazing before we get in the film industry? And the reason why I think people do think that is because they're thinking that the film industry is so hard and they want to be like a director right away. They want to be a producer right away. They want to be an actor right away, right? So they're like, well, if I can be an actor, director, producer shooting videos or in another genre, then maybe I can just transition over to the industry. And I can just skip all of this building up inside the business part. But I think that is a Huge mistake. I'm going to be dramatic. Why not? But it's a huge mistake because you can't get good at something until you are there repetitively, there consistently, and knowing what that thing is. And the thing I'm talking about is if you want to get on Netflix feature film sets, you cannot get good enough somewhere else. You have to be on the Netflix feature film sets, which is a possibility. And this is what I teach people to do. I just want to make sure I focus on this one thing that I really think is messing up so many people right now, which is they're doing sideline things, trying to make themselves impressive enough to someday land in the professional industry. And that messes them up because time is the most valuable thing you have. And you can be on these sets right now watching the people that are doing these jobs that you want to ultimately do and making those connections and filling in your mind all of the understandings of what makes you good at that job, how to do that job, how to solve the problems on set with that job. You've got to get the exposure on the big sets. Now, if that's your goal. Now, if your goal is to become a videographer that shoots, music festivals, or if your goal is to do corporate video, a DP corporate video or produce corporate video, or if your goal is to produce music, then you should be doing exactly that. You should be spending your time 100%, 200% of your time being totally obsessed with shooting videography for sports or producing music. That would be like your 100% obsession. But if your obsession, if your intent is to be an actor, a writer, a producer, a director for Netflix feature films, then you need to be on Netflix feature film sets now. You need to be exposed to them, meet the people, be on those sets consistently every single week. Have that be your job instead of whatever job that you have today. Don't hold yourself back. Don't stay in 9 to 5 trying to become impressive enough and have yourself winning at film festivals to try to make it easier for you when you get in the professional industry. If you were on professional sets and you were in the professional industry already, you would know that that's ridiculous. You would know that you would never think like that because it's not that way. So you don't have to become impressive to work in the film industry. You are going to learn it all on sets. And if you were already working on sets, you would already know that. But since you're still, most of us here, outside the business, trying to get into the business from all of these sideline things, we think that we have to be so impressive to get on the sets. And that is messing us up. Okay, I think I've landed that point. All right, so I want to talk a little bit then about what you should do. What you should do is you should do my program that gets you working on film sets. It's the fastest way to get on film sets, to build the resume, to get your 20 shoots going, to get the tasks on your resume. That is what you do on these sets. See, when you focus completely on how to get on sets and you focus completely on how to use being on these sets consistently to move into a craft, then that's what happens. But you have to focus on it. Right now we're focusing on stuff that we like, that we know that we can do, but we're kind of avoiding getting into the professional industry, which, that's a mistake because, that's what you want to do. You need to be in that environment now. So the process that I teach in my Into the Industry program is something that is action. And I take you by the hand and I guide you into the professional industry. Okay, let's go. Let's get this experience. Let's do these tasks when you do these freelance jobs. Let's work with these people. Let's research people. Let's research companies. Let's get on these sets. Let's focus on getting on shoots, building up what we do on these shoots so that we can put it on our resume. We can talk about it on sets. We can put it in our emails. Let's get on these sets consistently, and then we have that down. So we get all these people putting us in their phones. Now that part is down. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Okay, we've already far surpassed where you are today, which is doing all the sideline things, trying to get good enough. No, we're just going to get there. We're going to get on these sets consistently. Okay, get on them. And then what we're going to do is, while we're working on these sets and we have a realistic viewpoint of what it's like and the problems that we're doing, and watching people and finding our mentors on set and learning and growing and making money on sets. Once we have that going, which will happen really fast when you focus on it and you do what I'm teaching you guys to do, that's when you start to kind of relax in your mind. And now you're like, okay, now I'm going to start producing my thing. I'm going to start acting in my thing. Now it's like this. It's like you've got the platform. You got it because you're on sets consistently. And now you start to take off. This is what I love. That part. Like, most of us are just so excited just to get on these big sets. But what I'm excited about is for you to get on these sets, get there consistently, and then take off with what it is that you want to do. Direct, act, write, whatever it is that you want to do. All right, so what started this whole process of me thinking about all this stuff, you guys, was I got an email from somebody. It's another company out there that talks about, hey, here's what you should be doing. And I started reading it, and I'm like, oh my God, don't do that. And what they're saying is, they're like, when you meet industry professionals out there, this is correct what they said, say your first and your last name. Why not? Introduce yourself, your first and your last name, so that they remember your name. Okay. But then they say, don't say you are a production assistant. Say you are a producer in training. Oh gosh, don't say that. No, because when you're on sets and you're working there as a production assistant, you don't want to say you're a producer in training. You want to say, I'm a production assistant that is willing to help you with whatever you need. You want to own that position and be proud of it and be of service. That's what I did. It's a great attitude. And then everybody wants to hire you. When you say, I'm a producer in training, you're like, okay, you just skip forward. I don't even know if you're good or what kind of, you only want to learn producing things. Maybe you only want to learn producing things. Well, then for most sets, if you only want to learn acting things, you only want to learn producing things, they're not going to want to hire you. So you could actually be, and people will never tell you this, you could actually be hurting yourself because you're saying that you are a producer in training and you're not just there to help out with whatever is needed on sets. And that's what gets you hired again and again and again. Very important, okay? You have to read between the lines of these film sets. You have to be what they need and know what they need and what they need at that moment, so that you hit people right, and then they're like, oh, you're one of the good ones, and they put you in their phones, and then they call you again. So I know that it might feel like you have more pride, whatever, if you say, I'm a producer in training, but that's not a good thing to say. You can say it later, once you're working with people on sets, like even later in the day. Introduce yourself as a production assistant. Show that you're good, you're on it, you know how to help people. And then what's going to happen every single time is they're going to say, hey, what do you want to do? And then you say, I'm a producer. I want to be a producer. And you could even say, I'm a producer in training. And then make it a little joke. But don't be serious about it. Make it a little joke. Because you're not a producer in training, you're there as a production assistant. Although in your mind, you are a producer in training, and that is what you are doing there. That is why you are there on set, is to learn producing, if that's what you want to do, or to be an actor and learn acting, or to learn directing. That is why you're there. But why you are there on that particular day is you were hired to assist everybody on those sets and make it go smoothly. So speak their language. Just speak their language. They're not going to be like, oh, you are a production assistant and that means that you will never be a producer. That is not what they're going to think. They're going to think, oh, you're great. Oh, and you want to learn producing? Okay. Then they will start teaching you. They'll start training you, especially when you have some very good questions because you are paying attention. All right, so that email I got was really bad advice. Obviously, the people that are writing this email, they're not on the big sets like I am. So they're more catering to people that are maybe, I think they're starting out. So they're talking to people that are starting out and they're saying that, say this so that it makes it feels better for you. But the way I'm talking about for you guys is for you to actually be successful when you get on these film sets. That's what my mind is at, how you can look good so that people take you seriously and want to hire you again and again. So it's a little bit different. Somebody marketing to you will say one thing, somebody that's truly telling you the real deal on sets to get hired again and again, well, that's myself. That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm telling you something that you might be like, oh, I really would like to say the other thing. Now, another thing they say in here is they say that might be a more fitting title than production assistant. So it's like, if you're just starting out, then producer in training might be a more fitting title than production assistant. Absolutely not. You are hired as a production assistant. So that's your title. And that's what you want them to know you as on that day because you were hired for that. If you say that you are a producer in training, then it looks like you don't actually want to be a production assistant, and then they're not going to hire you again. So we got to read between the lines so that we get on sets consistently. And then we can become a producer in training. Make sense? Now, here's another bad advice that they give here. They say, if you're further along in your career, then just say you're a location manager. What? Even if you mainly work as an assistant. What are they talking about? Don't say you're a location manager. They have a location manager on set. You don't want to say you're a location manager, especially when that's not even what you want to do. You know, you want to be a director, a producer, an actor, and you're hired there on that day as a production assistant. So say, I'm a production assistant. Now, if you want to get into location, just say, I'd love to get into locations. And then they'll register in their mind, oh, we'd love to get into locations. So if you want to be an actor, you're like, oh, I'm also an actor. And by the way, actors, you just say it. You say, I'm an actor. You don't say, I would love to be an actor. No, you are an actor. That is one exception to everything. Like, you're an actor if you're an actor. Like, you are an actor if you believe you're an actor. Because you're playing yourself, saying a line. That is what you're hired for. And pretty much any actor here, any actor out there, you know that you can do that. You can be yourself and say a line. You're ready to act. So actors, ready to go. All right, but do not call yourself a location manager. No, that will be confusing. They'll be like, oh, I thought you were the location manager. And you're like, no, I just said that. I just didn't want to say I was a production assistant. They'll be like, what? Don't do that. That's the worst advice. I couldn't even believe it when I read that. And then they say, if you wear many hats, keep it simple. No, just when you're on set, hired to be that job, say that you are that job. Now, if you are working on a student film, then you can say, hey, I'd love to help out in camera. I'd love to help out with production. I'd love to learn how to produce. I'd love to act. Just tell them everything. That's student film, and that's a different thing. But I'm talking about getting you guys on big sets, professional sets, and actually moving up within the professional industry. So that's where my focus is, to get you going as a professional. And all these student films and all these low-budget music videos, you can spend a lot of time there. You can spend 10 years there, and you'll still be there in 10 years. I mean, that work that's out there, it's like people want to work and collaborate with other people that want to work for free. But you have to be careful about that, because then you can get stuck there for 10 years. And it seems like you're making progress because you're doing fun things, but you have to do what gets you working on your professional career. Bottom line. Boom. That's it. That's it. All right. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. Some mistakes, some bad advice that I see out there. that can really kind of mess you up if you say these things, but from people that are looking at it from a very beginning perspective, and they're out there online, out there on the internet and giving you advice, but this will totally mess you up. So be careful about that. This is actually why I started Friends in Film in the first place, was for you to be on professional sets where you will learn it, not just from me, but from being on these sets all the time. You'll learn your shit. You'll know what is actually appropriate. So I started it for actors to get them over all of the scams and all the management companies and all of the bullshit out there, all the showcases, all of the looking for fresh faces and talent and all the red carpet and people taking pictures of you, all of that sensational marketing to get you away from that and to be like, okay, we're not going to get caught up in that. We're just going to get on sets and learn our stuff. We're going to get on sets and we're going to meet working actors. We're going to get on sets and we're going to make money while we learn. This is what I teach. All right, you guys. So thank you so much for listening, and have a great day. I hope this is helpful. Bye, everybody. If you are ready to work in the film industry and you want to now take your career to that next level, go to friendsinfilm.com/join. You can learn our implementation system, and then you can even take it all the way by doing our flagship program, the Into the Industry program. It all starts with friendsinfilm.com/join. See you there.